This man cannot remain in power.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the world going towards a multipolar world. China is already buying Russian coal and oil in Chinese yuan, and I can see a lot of countries fast tracking this and moving away from the dollar. This is really bad news for the dollar, and you are witnessing a seismic shift of the dollar crashing over the next few years and other countries moving up in the ladder. So before I continue, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Really appreciate the support from you guys. Really appreciate the new guys who have subscribed. Make sure you are subscribed, by the way, because YouTube does tend to remove a lot of my subscription. I really respect you guys. You guys are here because you are independent thinkers. You are very intelligent compared to the rest of the population who are just following like sheep, following all of the narrative and lies that are spewed out by the government and the mainstream media. So really great for you guys for following channels like myself, and I really appreciate it. A lot of respect goes to you, and I'm learning a lot from you guys as well on the comment sections, so keep the comments coming. And also, if you really want to support the channel and help with the movement and help me as an individual so I can produce more videos such as this, then you are welcome to join my Patreon, or you can buy me a coffee. So without further ado, let's get on with the show. So the first story I'm going to be talking about is Johnson traveling to Kiev to meet Zelensky. And here he is talking to Zelensky face to face. He's promised Zelensky £100 million worth of weapons, and he's also promised UK's long-term support to Ukraine, and the Prime Minister will set out a new package of financial and military aid. So this is despite Britain going through one of its worst times that I can remember. I mean, I've never ever seen Britain go through such a worse turmoil than it is now. I mean, inflation has gone through the roof, cost of living has gone through the roof, interest rates have shot up, cost of living, the gas prices, electricity prices, you know, everything is very expensive, and people are going from middle class to poverty, and it's getting worse and worse by the day. So here we have our Prime Minister sending money to Ukraine when people in UK are suffering. People in UK, they don't know whether they're going to be heating their kids or feeding their kids. You know, it's a really major issue in UK at the moment. Yeah, with every single money we have, we're sending it to Ukraine. Then you have the dodgy Chancellor that we have, and his wife is basically saving money on tax. She's not paying tax on millions that she earns abroad. Her father is the owner of Infosys, and she's making millions. She's a billionaire. She's not having to pay any tax on that, and she's got all of these mansions that she's living in UK, in abroad, in America, and she's making so much money, and she's living in UK. Her kids are going to private school. She's getting all the UK benefits, but she's not paying any taxes on all of these monies that she's making from Infosys. While at the same time, her husband, the Chancellor, is squeezing every penny out of the poor, squeezing every penny out of the middle class, every penny out of every single citizen from UK, increasing taxes, increasing national insurance. And we have a bungling buffoon of a Prime Minister going all the way to Ukraine and promising them more aid and more help and more military aid. I mean, come on, sort out your priorities, mate. So what is the UK sending to Ukraine? You can see here, the UK is to send 120 armoured vehicles and new anti-ship missile systems. I mean, this is escalating stuff. This is not looking for peace. It just goes to show that the UK and the Americans are just pushing for more war. They want this to drag on as long as possible, and they want to try and kill as many Russians as possible. They're not looking for peace, and it just shows that this is what their intention is. So I want to also show you this as well. The UK Prime Minister tweets about visiting my friend Mr. President Zelensky. So apparently President Zelensky is now Boris Johnson's best mate now. I'm really happy that Boris Johnson has finally found a friend. This is Boris Johnson with the rest of his friends from Europe and NATO. So you can see the tweet by Boris Johnson. He says, "Today I met my friend, President Zelensky." It's not President Zelensky, it's Zelensky. Need to get rid of the Z. Move with the times, Boris. And at the end he put, "This is our commitment to his country's struggle against Russia's barbaric campaign." Okay. So what about our struggle with all of these inflation and all of these issues in our country? What are you going to do about that, Boris? I can't believe there's no British people out there in the streets protesting against Boris. I mean, his cabinet is destroying the country. You got Boris with his ridiculous foreign policy, throwing money at Ukraine when British people need it the most. You got his Chancellor basically squeezing every last tax out of all of the poor people, while rich people pay no tax. His wife pays no tax, while he lives in a nice luxurious mansion, while the rest of us have to struggle. You got Liz Truss, who can't be trusted with any of her foreign policies. Every time she opens her mouth, it causes an international incident. Then you got Priti Patel, and she's dodgy as hell. I mean, the whole cabinet needs to go. I just can't believe people are not protesting in the streets. You know, since Boris came to power, this has happened. This has all happened since Boris came to power. Before he came to power, it wasn't as bad as this. But I could see how bad things were going to get. Even I was making videos back then at the time saying, you know, this is going to be the beginning of the end, and he is going to completely destroy our country. And it's happening right in front of me. But I can't believe people are not protesting in the streets. Seriously, so many brainwashed people out there. Absolutely brainwashed. Talking about brainwashed, does any of you look at Visual Politic on YouTube? I mean, Visual Politic used to be one of my favorite channels on YouTube, and I used to learn a lot from that channel. But recently, it is so biased. You know, I used to love that channel because it used to be unbiased. And now it's so biased, and now all the videos are completely against Russia, and in fact they are so biased against Russia that every time you watch their videos they're clamoring for money for the Ukrainian army. So they're asking people to donate, and all the money goes to the Ukrainian army, or what's left of it, or, you know, goes to the Azov militia. And you know, I just find it despicable how they've gone from an unbiased channel into a biased channel, and I've completely unsubscribed from them. I just hope everyone else is doing the same, because they are absolutely ridiculous how biased they are towards Ukraine, and you know, it's a shame really. They used to be a really good channel at one point, but it seems like a lot of channels in YouTube are heading along that narrative. And it's a shame really that people out there, they can't have an independent news channel which actually is unbiased. You know, it's a shame there's not many channels out there like myself, George Galloway, you got the Duran obviously, and there's a few others as well. There's a few others, but only a few and far between. And for the few of you who actually tune into my channel, and a few others, you guys, I gotta take my hat off to you guys. I have a lot of respect for you. You know, people like yourselves have a lot of intelligence. You want to listen to both sides of the story. You want to have an alternative view to the narrative that's pushed out there. You know, channels that go against the narrative get cancelled, like RT for example. So I have a lot of respect for you guys. You guys are independent thinkers. You are very, very select few in the human race. You are not sheep. So a lot of respect goes out to you guys, and let's carry on with all of the love and support. And without you guys, I wouldn't be here. So let's carry on and continue with the main show of the day. So what we are witnessing before our very eyes, we are seeing a seismic shift. We are seeing a seismic shift towards a multipolar world. And you can see by titles such as this, Russia oil paid for in yuan starts heading towards China. So as you can see from this article, China is buying Russian energy with its own currency, marking the first commodities paid for in yuan since Western sanctions hit Moscow. So this is good news for China. The Chinese yuan or Chinese RMB will be an international currency, and it's going to fast track its way up the ladder. And this is very, very good news for China because, first of all, it can buy a lot of gas and oil from Russia, and also is looking to buy gas and oil from Saudi Arabia in Chinese RMB as well. So that's also going to help. So it gives China a really big bargaining power when buying gas and oil from other countries. For example, other countries in the Middle East or even the United States, they can say, sorry, you need to sell it to us, and you need to we'll buy it with using our own currency. We're not going to use the dollar anymore. And if they say no, China will be like, okay, we'll just buy more from Russia then, or we'll buy more from Saudi Arabia. So it gives China a huge advantage. I can see the Chinese yuan shooting up in value internationally over the next year or so as this continues. And Russia has got a lot of oil and a lot of gas to sell. There's already one pipeline of gas going into China, and they are building 3 more. And they're also going to move a lot of the gas from the oil fields or the gas fields that supply Europe, and they will start moving them to China. So over the next 5-10 years, you will see a lot of Russian gas and a lot of Russian oil heading to China. And Russian gas and oil obviously coming through pipelines, but oil can be transferred using trains or pipelines, because Russia and China do share a huge border between each other. So it gives them a huge advantage. China can save a lot of costs using these pipelines, and also it can save a lot of costs with shipping and transport as well. And plus the added benefit of buying all of these commodities and energy supplies using its own currency, which is going to strengthen the Chinese RMB. So really, really good news for China. And this is a start of de-dollarization around the world. So you can see here, Russian banks see the rise use of Chinese yuan amongst amid Western sanctions. So they're using the Chinese yuan a lot more than the dollar and euro, and you can see a lot of transactions and currencies are being done using the Chinese yuan, and it's really, really good news for China. The bad news for the rest of the world is, especially for the unfriendly countries, they are having to buy Russian commodities, oil and gas and metals, fertilizers in Russian rubles, and that's just going to increase the Russian rubles a lot more. So Russia can win both ways and China can win both ways. There's also stuff going on behind the scenes as well. You got countries like Venezuela, and you got countries like Iran looking to link up the Russian Mir cards with their system, and that will increase Mir cards international sense as well. As you know, Mir card is very much banned in a lot of Western countries because of all of the sanctions. And if Maduro from Venezuela and Iran start using it, and also China's going to be using it as well, it's just going to internationalize the Mir card even more, or the Mir payment system. And this is really good news for Russia because, as you know, Iran has the largest supply of natural gas and Venezuela has the largest supply of oil. So together they could pretty much control the gas sector for years to come. And as you know, Saudi Arabia is starting to move towards China and starting to sell its oil in Chinese yuan, and many other Middle East countries will start following as well. So you can see a huge seismic shift, and the world is moving towards a de-dollarization and also a multipolar world as well. This is really bad news for the dollar. As you can see, Russia and China are working together to try and de-dollarize, to try and weaken the dollar. And as they trade more in yuan and as they trade more in rubles, the yuan will improve, the rubles will improve, it will get stronger and stronger, and in return the dollar will get weaker. And what happens when the dollar gets weaker? Well, America's economy gets weaker, because America is a very much a trade deficit country, which means it imports more than it exports. And if the dollar becomes weaker, their imports become much more expensive, meaning Americans will suffer more because of the high cost of inflation, high cost of goods, and it's more likely that the American economy will collapse because of that. So America cannot afford to have the dollar to be weak. These countries are now trading in their own currency, especially China, especially Russia, and especially a lot of other countries. It's just going to be bad news for the dollar, and the dollar will start losing its value. The petrodollar will be less and less. Less countries will start trading in petrodollars and more with their own currency. And this is very bad news for the dollar. And the fact that Russia has been taken off the SWIFT system as well, a lot of countries will start using alternative payment methods. And this is again bad news for the Americans, because they won't be able to track money that gets transferred around the world. Because one of the things SWIFT does, it tracks every single transaction around the world. America will lose track of that. We'll be able to trade with countries which have been sanctioned by America, because these sanctioned countries will be able to use system which is different from SWIFT, and America would not be able to track those transactions. And also, if more and more countries are going to be going away from SWIFT and using their own currencies, the value of the dollar will start to go down severely, and it's just going to be accelerating America's demise. So what's the summary? As you can see, China, Russia, and many other countries are starting to move away from the dollar. They are using their own currencies. China has already fast-tracked currency, and it is already buying oil and gas from Russia in yuan as well. So you can see Chinese yuan shooting up in value, because even if China starts trading with all of the BRI countries in yuan as well in the future, that will strengthen the yuan even more. So you can see the yuan strengthening very fast over the next few years, and it's going to be one of the currencies which will be vying for the top spot along with the dollar and the euro as well. And don't forget rubles as well. Russia is also trading with a lot of countries in rubles, so I can see the Russian ruble going up there as well as one of the top currencies. And I look forward to reading your comments. I love reading your comments. I try and respond to each and every one of you. Sometimes forgive me if I just put a simple message like exactly or I agree with you. It's just me acknowledging that I've read your message. I can't write individual messages to each and every one of you because I get thousands of them, but I do acknowledge your messages. I do love reading them, and I'll try and respond to each and every one of you when I can and if I can. So keep the support coming, guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and make sure you're still subscribed, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now.